Hi, and welcome to Telepathic TV. This is television you watch with your third eye. I'm Neville Johnston.
And I'm Mary Phelan, and our program is about raising our consciousness.
And consciousness raising always has to do with letting go of the way in which we've been taught to think. We were never taught to think consciously. In fact, we were taught to think very unconsciously. So our program is a lot of techniques by which you can change, by which you can open yourself to greater consciousness. Each human being is inherently able to do this. Open yourself to the bigger picture. One of the bigger pictures is the way in which we've been taught to keep time, and we'd like to change that. We'd like to change that to the concept of the Mayan calendar. Mayan calendar is as ancient as it gets in a very real way, and today in Mayan is?
6 Can, and Can means seed. And people in the Can tribe are usually into music and dance and very fluid and sensuous in the fact that they're very tactile. They love to touch, hug, they're big huggers, and being at tone 6, it's a day of balance. So it's a really wonderful day just to play and have fun.
Yes, absolutely. And
I've been playing and having fun today.
Any day you may play and have fun, and this is a day that's particularly focused on. The seed days are always about planting seeds, and if there's one thing we do on this show, it's plant seeds of higher consciousness amongst us, the human race. So, there's thousands of seeds to plant, which we'll be doing. We are a live call-in metaphysical program. You have the opportunity this evening to call with any question you have, a dream interpretation, a why is this like this sort of question, just anything you would like. We'd be very happy to answer.
Absolutely. Yeah, and tonight we're doing open forum, and what that means is you can call in with any question you'd like. If you'd like to call in with a dream you'd like interpreted, a reading for us to calculate your Mayan sign, or just any kind of experience you had. Recently we had a woman call in talking about an experience she had. She was going through a transatlantic cruise, going over to Europe, and in the middle of the night she got up to go to the bathroom, and she was sensing these beings in her room. And the next day the captain said that over the course of the night they had passed over the site where the Titanic went down. The thing is more and more of us are getting experiences like that because of this veil between these two-dimensional planes is getting less and less, because we are increasing our vibration and raising up to it. And when we do that, we're starting to perceive, there's some bleed-throughs through different dimensions.
Yeah. Now, one of the many things that we're talking about, the idea of changing the way in which you think, any thought that you think that actually causes you pain is really a very primitive way to think. Betrayal, who's the only person in the world who could betray you, and don't tell me spouse. Betrayal, you're the only one that can betray you. Yet we're taught that our power is external. Always we are taught our power is external, and it's not true at all. 100% of the experiences you've had in life, you have generated. It is the truth of the matter. It is about owning it. It is about getting above this and beginning to think in a different way, beginning to think in a painless way. Anything that's causing you pain is a three-dimensional method of thinking. We, the human race, we are moving into fourth-dimensional consciousness, and more and more and more and more. We mentioned the term bleed-throughs. We mentioned time slipping in an unusual way maybe 15 shows ago, and we've had any number of callers asking about time blips was the thing where all of a sudden you had a paper cut, no memory of it, and weren't near any paper, and how did that happen? And you've been in another dimension and come back, and you brought something like a paper clip, that's funny,
Maybe.
to remind you, to put it in your own face, to get it across to you that you are indeed multidimensional. And we must, it's for our own sake, the movement forward of the human race involves recognizing that we're multidimensional at the very least of it.
Well, speaking of the paperclip, I've heard stories, and it's happened to us, both individually and together, where we have had an occasion where something was apported from another dimension. And I guess, to back up a little bit to explain how this works, if you look at the universe as time as being simultaneous. And if you were to look in the room that you're sitting in, something happened in there yesterday, something will happen tomorrow, and something's happening right now. It's all the same location. Well, what happened to that event yesterday and the event tomorrow? Those are in different time envelopes, different little packets of time. And it's all happening at the same time. We're just perceiving one layer, one frequency band of it. And so Neville and I, Neville had this little tourmaline crystal that he was twirling one day, and it fell to about a foot, maybe about that far off the floor, and just disappeared. It never hit the floor. And we thought, well, surely it must have hit, and it bounced, and we never found it. We looked and looked and looked, and never could find it. And about 6 months later, somebody else was in that room with us, and we were just talking, and you hear this zap, and it falls from that high up off the floor and hits the ground. And I even had somebody come to me for a reading a while back, and they had found a locket when they woke up in the morning on their headboard with engraved on the back was the name of their aunt, who she had never met because she died long before she was born. And so she did some research, and her aunt had been a medium. And so we thought that was, you know, pretty profound.
Pretty fine for me.
Yeah, for her to find that.
Marianne's story about the ring.
Oh, yeah. And Marianne, friend of ours, had talked about losing a ring and moving out of a house and coming back many, many years later and finding that ring again to that same house. And there's countless stories like that. And so we talk about time bleeps. If we're getting more and more to the vibration where we're sensing all time as being simultaneous, this is why so many more of us are choosing to explore our past lives and to explore our future trajectory. Although at any given moment, you know, our point of power is wherever our consciousness is. So if you pull it into the now, that's really where spirit and flesh intersect.
We're about to do an event called Off-Planet Life, in which we simply speak the truth that your soul is not confined merely to the planet Earth. It's not confined, period. Your body, well, you could hitch a ride with on a spaceship, but basically your body's confined to the planet Earth, yes, but the soul not so much. And the soul is very fond of building bodies. Ergo, your soul has built bodies on other planets, and in this event we will go exploring. And what those other bodies and you have in common is that each of them, each of us, is exploring a particular evolutionary agenda, whatever that might be, we don't know. But in going to the other planet and seeing the other you in a significantly different culture, in a different body, in a different environment entirely, pursuing the same evolutionary epic that you're experiencing here on Earth, and seeing how that other part of you does that in that other environment is, to say the very least, eye-opening. It is a very different way of exploring a very deep and meaningful part of yourself. All of our stuff is on telepathictv.com. If you have your computer handy right at this very moment, go to telepathictv.com, put up another show, and we can race shows.
Yes, there is a show that you can view there, plus our class schedule. And tomorrow, which is the 9th of December, we're having an opening of the third eye ceremony at 1. The Merkaba, which is a breath technique to build your light body, build up your light body, and then the quartz crystal bowls in the evening, then the Mayan class on Sunday. But all that's on the web. You know, we talk a lot about, you know, creating our own reality. And there was a period of time where I got into a big conflict because, you know, on one hand, you know, we create our own reality, and then on the other hand, you know, it's let go and let God. And they both seem to make a lot of sense. And how I put both of those together back in one place again was that it's my job to say what, and the universe's job to say how. And that's one thing, you know, especially around this time of year, everybody gets into these extreme stress modes. I've got to go buy this, I've got to get food, I've got to make all these, you know, and even though it's a warm time where, you know, we're meeting with friends and having parties and it's very nice, it's probably one of the most stressful times there is, you know, as far as in the calendar year, besides tax time. And so learning different ways or remembering different ways to be at peace even during this is a really good idea. And, you know, we usually talk around the holidays about obligation and how, you know, if you do something out of love, you know you're doing something out of love because the universe will fund you. It won't drain you. If you're doing it out of obligation,
Guilt.
you're going to be drained. Obligation is guilt, and you're going to be drained. And so start looking in your life and saying, where am I doing, and it doesn't matter what it is, it can be the most wonderful thing. If it's draining you, you're doing it for the wrong reasons. It's got to be done out of love. I mean, the universe sets up a pretty simple system for us to tell if we're doing something that's right for us or not.
Mm-hmm. At any given moment, there are 1 billion things you could be doing that you would love to do. If you said in particular, I'll be here and do this TV show, which is of course one of the billion things I would love to do, well, why not? This would be perfectly okay. But you can constantly be doing something you would love to do. And it is the judgment that keeps it from being something you love to do. Okay? And we really do have to overhaul. We really are in a position to change the way in which we think, because the movement forward into the future has to do with the word change. We came here to evolve, and another word for evolution is adaptation, and another word for evolution is change, and another word for evolution is balance, and another word for evolution is mastery. And we do not reach mastery by doing what we're told. Well, come on. Go ahead, name a conformist. Go on, do it. Name a conformist. Can't be done. Okay, this is my point. If we say name a nonconformist, that'll be virtually any name you know. Virtually, I mean, if you know someone. Mozart comes to mind as naming a nonconformist, or all those other Mozarts. It just doesn't work that way. It's time for us to take over our lives and begin living it, instead of doing what we're told and acting like that's a good idea. At the end of the Civil War, there were many slaves that did not wish to be freed because they'd have to think. Oh my God, think. Yeah.
Well, you know, another facet of that, another angle on that is our creativity. When we are feeling locked inside other people's points of views and what other people are expecting out of our lives, we never go and discover our beautiful creativeness and our uniqueness. One time in some automatic writing I did years ago, it was worded that, you know, when we are gone out of this physical incarnation, it's like we turn a term paper into whatever God we're visualizing and say, this is my unique perspective, that we're all eyes of God, and this was my unique perspective. And, you know, it's like going into a dressing room where you have those mirrors that let you see all angles. Well, if one of the mirrors says, I refuse to give you that angle, I'm going to give you the angle that you're seeing in the front, so that when we look over there, we're seeing the front angle. When we conform, that's what we're doing. We're reporting back somebody else's perspective, and not even their real perspective, but what we perceive of as their perspective. So when we seek to conform, to have all the beige carpet and the beige furniture and have, you know, just those decorator touches, whatever is there for the year, what we're doing is we're reporting back our life through the eyes of someone else. And so I would suggest to everybody to just set that down and start with the creativity. Start with the color in your wardrobe and in your bedroom and in your living room, and say, what of this is my idea of what beauty is supposed to be? Like I saw it in a magazine, or a decorator did this for me. And what would I really love? Maybe you'd love a purple wall and a green wall, and maybe you would love to just put flowers all over the wall. Experiment, be creative. And years ago I was in a meditation. Neville, I don't know if I ever told you this. I was in a meditation and I was seeing every human being like in this huge bazaar, and everybody had like a little cubicle of the store, like they were selling their wares. And I went by some and they were so colorful. One was decorated with silks and beautiful things. Another one, it was bamboo, and that was very lovely too. And then I went into this cluster that felt like it was the United States, and every one was just these beige cubicles, you know, these conformist type things. And it's really lovely to discover what makes you happy. We don't even know what makes us happy.
If every tone in your house is beige, you live in the hamster wheel of consumerism.
And we do have a
nothing
beige carpet.
shows dirt like beige. It's designed to show dirt. It's what it does, which keeps you constantly buying the latest cleaning device, which keeps you constantly poisoned on a low level. Not enough to kill you, but certainly enough to take the life out of you over a period of time. And this just goes on unabated so long as we accept it, so long as... Now, if you have a rug that's beige in your house, and you rent, or you own that rug, I'd like you to take the magic marker and lay out a labyrinth on the rug. Do it in pencil first, do it in something erasable first, but definitely install a labyrinth in the middle of your rug. If you don't know what a labyrinth is, then look it up. Now, take this labyrinth and walk it every day, and walk it with the program of becoming more of an individual. Every day you walk this. Every day you do it. In fact, have it open where the front door, if you have an apartment or a house, open the front door and you're walking the labyrinth, okay? If you have the mind for it, make the thing huge so that the entire apartment or floor plan becomes this labyrinth. And do this. It is your life.
It's an idea, yeah, definitely. If it rings
life,
true, because it's important to do what makes you feel good.
Want to tell the story of the woman that had the dream where she died and went to God? And
Yeah, a woman had emailed, and I think she was viewing the show on the internet from another state, so she wasn't in the position to call in. But she said she had a dream, and in the dream, she died, and she was actually ascending into this place, and she gets up there, and God says to her, you know, she was expecting some big judgment day and all this stuff, and God merely said to her, "Were you happy?" And she went,
Did you have fun, wasn't it? Did
yeah.
You? Yeah.
No, I thought it was, "Were you happy?"
Oh, either way.
Or did you have fun? Same thing. I could be incorrect, but I think they have a similar message.
That's my thinking, I see.
Yeah. Were you happy? It's like, you know, really, what if your only job was to make you happy? Well, the first thing that may pop in your mind is, oh, well, if I go around making me happy, then I must be making other people unhappy. But this is training we get. This is not true. Everybody can be happy. And if you start with you, you will find that you're championing everyone else. The only time we really wish other people to be unhappy is because we are denying our own happiness, and we can't stand if somebody else is happy and we're sitting here denying our own happiness. So get colorful, get happy, and you will find that you'll foster this in everybody you meet.
Oh, absolutely. I actually heard someone say that if it's my job to make me happy, I'd be fired. I actually heard somebody think that. Would that person call in if they would be so kind? And the number will be up on the screen. But
524-2388.
Yeah, please, because we are on this program now to assist you to change the way in which you think, because we've all been brought up in the box. And in the box, there's one and only one correct answer, which is one of the easiest ways to keep somebody in the box. I know there was a teacher in Ohio who was fired for teaching kids that 2 plus 2 is 9 minus 5. In other words, there's more than one correct answer to 2 plus 2, which is 22 if you're teaching numerology, which is 2-2 if you're pretending you're a ballerina. You may actually be a ballerina, but it would still be 2-2. And it goes on and on. When we first examine the thought process on this planet and the mono thinking, the box thinking, then we begin to examine the overall thinking, and it turns out that we, the human race, are bipolar. We speak a bipolar language. Anybody you accuse of being bipolar simply takes their time going from one pole to the other. This is my week to be grand and great and creative, or day or hour or whatever it is. This is my week to be sour and bitter and destroy everything I possibly can. Oh, it's my week to be happy, 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 and just bring joy and puppy dogs and sunflowers, everything. And no, this is my week to, and geez, God. A human being in a given minute can go back and forth between poles to make a bee envious of the vibration you can give off from going back and forth. It is really time for us to begin to actually think in 3 dimensions instead of 2. The language is bipolar, it's 2-dimensional. We are 3-dimensional, but we think 2-dimensionally. Who did this? Well, we did because we accepted it, but it's time to begin to think in a greater way than we have been taught to think. Come on, it's to expand you. There is nobody on this planet that is not a genius. There isn't one of us.
You know, that's another thing. Once we let our real selves out, you're going to locate your genius, because we are all geniuses. And now think about it. Let's say you came here to, you know, be a magnificent painter and somebody was, and you were insisting that you did accounting, it'll look like, you know, you're not good at anything. And whereas if you find what you're good at, and I found it interesting, you know, the Mayan astrology that we show at the beginning of every show, when I do Mayan readings for people, I notice, you can tell a lot, like people that are really good at managing and they're in some kind of subordinate role, they're going to be unhappy. Oh, and great, we have a call, so we'll go ahead and switch to that. That ought to be transferred.
There we go.
There we go.
Hi, caller. What's your name, please?
Iris Jackson. How are you?
Hi, great.
Good.
Thanks for calling.
Oh, you're quite welcome. You were talking about thinking in a box.
Uh-huh.
I'd like
I've heard
to
of
know
it.
how you both feel about religion as a means of keeping us in a box.
Well, I studied religion for most of my life because I really felt answers were there, and I found many answers there. And then there came the day where I outgrew it, more or less. And I still see, to me, the more you grow in consciousness, it's like you expand. And when you expand, you include all things within you. And I really see the route of every religion out there. I've studied pretty much all of them. And I see how all of them are a route, they're a bridge to get you to a certain state of consciousness. And then I got to a place where I saw that being trapped in the bubble of a lot of the religions, I felt trapped and I felt separate from my fellow man. And so that's what led me to expand and grow larger than. But I see it's all the same thing.
Yes. Religion is the box. Religion is right versus wrong. I don't care which religion. Okay, so let's use Christianity because it came up first in my thinking. All right, caller, riddle me this. Does Christ love the devil? Hello?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm thinking.
Yeah, well, there's no thought there. That's a no-brainer. Of course Christ loves the devil. Of course. Christ loves. It's not a matter of who, where, or what they did.
Okay.
Christ loves the devil. Okay, end of all religions. Good loves bad. Okay, now, Christ loves the devil. So right in the middle of the sermon, you stand up and go, like Woody Allen, you go, excuse me, this is really bugging. This one, I won't take, please. And the priest goes, all right, and go, does Christ love the devil? Now, if the priest says yes, you go, well, good. Okay, of course Christ loves the devil. And then, being a good Christian, would I not use Christ or God as my model? And then would I not also love the devil? Not worship, but love the devil? By the way, the minute you love the devil's job is done. That's the whole job there. Lucifer, the light bearer. Now, if the priest or minister says, no, God does not love the devil, okay, then you go, oh, thank God, thanks, I never have to come in here again. This place is so off the money that I'm voiding my tithing check, I'll tell you that right now. And I'm out of here. Thank you so much for the freedom. And that's it. Religion is used for
Well, I think
suppression.
there's a point in time in our evolution where that's a very useful thing.
Yeah.
To be, when, you know, because we are born and we're trapped in that world of right and wrong, and the poet Rumi wrote, there exists a field outside of the land of right doing and wrongdoing. I'll meet you there. And for us to ever grow out of the bubble of any kind of a belief system, you see, belief systems are like rooms that we walk through. They're not a place where we shut the door and live. And everything expands. Like when we're a little child, you know, we're taught to stay in the house and not run out in the middle of the night because the boogeyman's out there. And so the fear is used to keep us inside. And I think, you know, the Old Testament can be paralleled to that. Fear, and you have rules because you can't think for yourself. And then the metaphor of Christ coming says, you know, love others as you would love yourself. And what's happened now is we've spent so many years not loving ourselves, as can be evidenced in how we are loving each other, because we can only love others to the extent we love ourselves, that now we're going back and saying we got to love ourselves. And when we carry that old belief system with us that says, oh, it's wrong to love you, that we're, you know, these guilty, sinful beings that are here to, you know, that maybe if you do enough good things, you'll be forgiven and be taken back into God's warm embrace, that you know, that's where I feel we as a society really have to grow past this self-hatred and this stuff.
Yeah, let me rip the top right off the box.
Rip it off.
Here we go. Everything is God, yes? Everything's God. Therefore, you are God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just say yes. There we go. Yes,
Yes.
I am God. Okay, now, what happened when God reached, he, she, all that is, reached a point of consciousness, and God recognized that God was all things? Then there became a healing crisis in God, a consciousness, moment of consciousness, where God said, well, gee, if I'm everything, I'm never going to get any real feedback. And right at that point, God saw a whole bunch of little hands go up and heard the, me boss, Fantasy Island, no. All those little hands, us, we the human beings, we the human race. We all volunteered to do the next best thing. What's the next best thing? Well, if we cannot, if God is everything, and wishes feedback on himself, then we have to do the next best thing. We have to forget that we're God long enough to turn in a report, long enough to print the headline, God is dead, all the rest of that. So welcome to the planet Amnesia. Yeah.
You're losing me.
I know.
You're losing me.
I know.
Well,
Where did we lose you?
When you said that if you were God,
Yeah,
that's
you're right, the if. You're God, right?
hypothetical. If we're
Not
God,
hypothetical. Everything's God, yes?
yes.
Okay, therefore you're God.
Okay.
Okay. Now, since you're God, okay, but you're not allowed to know that you're God because then it's game over.
But you said we need feedback.
well, maybe another way of saying that is that we are perspective points. We are all God, and we are perspective points. So if we are in the knowing that we are the totality, the perspective point would be lost. We'd be looking at it from another angle. And I believe we have another call on hold. So
Yeah, okay.
I know we lose them if we don't. But thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
Excellent. Excellent call. Thank
You've
you.
been good.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
God consciousness is the top on the box.
Okay. Is that our next
There
call
we go.
coming in?
Yep.
Nope.
Oh, dial tone, I know him.
Nope. I think
Fair.
they were switching
dead?
it over. And
Oh,
call
whichever it is.
back, please.
Yeah,
because
call
I think
back.
that was the call that they were queuing up to transfer in, and I pressed
But
on
just to
it.
continue in this treatise, we live on the planet Amnesia. We have all forgotten that
Well,
we are
that's
God.
yes, and that.
And go ahead then.
Well, I was explaining maybe just another way of saying that, because certainly that is true. And when we are, let's say I'm looking from the perspective point of being in my body and looking out at the camera, and you are looking at this reality through the perspective point of sitting in your living room and looking at your TV, I am kind of ignorant to your point of view as long as I'm in my point of view. And so we've got this next call is going to be coming in.
Okay.
This is excellent.
Now,
So
when
it'll-
we ink the...
Hi.
Hello. Hi. Please say hello. You're on live TV. Okay,
Okay, here
keep
we go.
ringing. Here we go.
Okay, here we go. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. What can we do
Hi.
for you?
Hi, yes. I heard you guys talking about the Mayas earlier.
Uh-huh.
I had a question on that.
Sure.
Okay.
I was trying to find your thoughts on why is it that they disappear so fast. I was always trying to find out.
Why the Mayans left the planet?
Well, I feel they did time travel. They moved into the future. You know, different cultures are given charge to handle different things, and I feel the Mayans were given charge of time, just like India. That culture was given charge of our higher spirituality in a lot of ways. And they, being in charge of time, the Mayans just decided to go into a different time zone, because they really did rather vanish and, you know, go into another time dimension to track time there.
Is this the 2012 myth?
Excuse me?
The 2012 myth? The
Yes.
Yes, okay. It's a myth. Let me draw your attention to the year 2000. You remember that? It's a few years ago, right?
Right.
Okay, planes coming out of the sky, all power failing, everything blowing up. Buy batteries, buy insurance, buy this, buy that. We got sold by the media an incredible load of nonsense. Follow?
Yes.
Okay. The year 1000, not as much of media blitz in those days, but nonetheless, the Pope had been selling get out of purgatory free cards At the stroke of midnight, the merchants had given away all of their items. Everybody was drunk on anything they could find to get drunk on. And by noon, the first day of the year 1000, nothing, not even a storm. The Pope commits suicide. Literally, look it up. Dial 1000 on Google, the year 1000. Look it up on the internet. It's just media hype. Okay, the year 2012. Okay, the reason the Mayans stopped recording the calendar at that moment is that, first I have to explain that our solar system is in orbit. Now, we put Galileo to death for inventing the telescope. Oh, no, he recanted. We just really annoy Galileo. But I didn't mean it. The Earth isn't round. Don't worry now. Okay, and everybody knows the Earth is round, and it orbits around the sun. And we never got past that point. It's like the sun is the stable center of the universe. No, actually, the sun and the solar system is orbiting around the bigger picture of the center of our galaxy. Whatever we're orbiting around, believe me, we are. So the year 2012, it's an elliptical orbit. Okay. The year 2012 is the exact apogee of the elliptical orbit. It's as far away from the central sun as we get. After 2012, we're turning back in. And that's why it's the end of a particular age and the beginning of a new age. I know we've been talking about the new age for a long time.
I think that's also an interesting metaphor for that it's our job now to write our own time. Because maybe also in that awareness was we get to the place where we realize that there is only one time and it is now, and that maybe they had thought that by this point we would be aware of this, and who would have to track anything.
By the way, the Mayans never said the date 2012. There's a website out there that states that the Catholic Church embezzled several years from us, and that we have already gone past 2012.
Well, it was actually Drunvalo that put forth, because he did find just periods of times. I mean, people have manipulated the Gregorian calendar. I mean, everybody knows this. We learned it in school, where they remove 7 years at one time, 2 weeks here and there, to make time like that, whereas Mayan kind of tracked time consistently from the beginning. Yeah. Did you have any other questions?
No, I was just wondering, so from what you're telling me, it just feels like everything's coming to an end, and there's going to be a new beginning.
Yeah, everything's coming
it's
to
more
a
like,
beginning.
it's really just change. It's constant change, and if we look back on it, it looks like a death, and if we look at it, it looks like a birth. And it's really our choice whether we want to look back on what's walking away. I put a sign on my wall that was very helpful to me that said, I place my attention to those walking toward me, not the rear ends of those walking away. And how you can tell if something is moving out of your life through its natural attrition in your life is the circumstance or the people start behaving like rear ends. And so you say, hey, that's a flag for me to start looking for a face that's walking toward me. And I feel that that's this way with time as well. It's really up to us to look forward to the birth and see what's coming at us. Then we can become consciously creating with it what's coming toward us.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. What a great question.
Thank you.
Thanks. Yeah, and if anybody would like to call in for a reading or for us to calculate your Mayan sign or a dream interpretation or another question, that was a great question.
About anything, because the way in which we think, here's another bigger picture of any thought that causes you pain is not a real thought, because I know we have a great body of evidence behind the idea of pain being real, but the truth of the matter is fear is always set in the future. Fear isn't happening right now. It's not. It's not. I don't care what fear you've got. It's not set in the now.
Yeah.
Fear, doubt, worry, guilt, and blame are the only tools we are taught to use on this planet, and not one of them is real.
Yeah, we've done many shows on
Countless
those particular
shows,
topics, and fear really is out of the moment. Think about if you slip and fall on the ice. As you're falling, it's like this timeless, you know, you're just, what's going on? And it's not until after you've fallen and you speculate, oh, did I hurt something when I fell?
Yeah.
And you can see this on the face of a child. When they fall down, they look to you before they start crying. And if you go, oh, poor baby, they start crying. If you say, come on, laugh, and they don't. And we have another call, which is great.
Oh, excellent.
We'll go ahead and let that get transferred in.
Something's
And yeah. Yeah, well, we appreciate the calls. Thanks.
There we go. Hi, caller. What's your name, please?
Hello.
Speak.
Hey, you're on the air.
Hello. Hello, caller.
Okay. Hi.
Yes, there
Hi,
we
you're
go.
on the air. What can we do for you?
I want a pizza with some shrooms.
Oh, it sounds like you've had some already. But you know, you're welcome to eat as many as you'd like.
Now, we have said, without a doubt, there is no such thing as a prank call, because whenever anyone calls this program, it is because they are seeking assistance. And it is a matter of interpreting their language. So that sounds to me like a lot of guilt about eating.
Yeah.
And nothing will make you fat like being guilty about eating. It really is the way that works. So we can presume a great deal about that caller, and a lot to do with unresolved issues of nourishment.
Well, shall I do a reading for her?
Yeah, let's do a reading
Okay.
for the caller.
Okay. Now, the thing
yeah.
about a reading, what we're doing, and this is something I've done for a long time, is we're just tapping into who you really are, and it's you know, your higher self, because we don't always listen to our higher self, so we may use other methods to kind of get through.
Yeah. Now, one other issue there's a lot of mother issues with that person because of the reference to milk and the concept of being nourished through food, which could be father issues, I agree, but I just have the feeling it's more mother issues. But go ahead.
Well, you know, the creativity card is the card of the mother, as far as birthing our own creative force and really letting it out and not so much conforming to what other people wish. And I just feel a lot of wonderfully creative energy with you.
Oh, yeah.
And that the control card talks about, you know, the mind. It's like we're flowing, the left brain steps in, oh, I better do this. I better get the approval of people sitting in the room with me, more so than being who I really am. And I really would recommend getting out there. The circle of friends that you're keeping and everything are really keeping you down, suppressing your light. And it's time you go out and figure out who you are and walk that journey, because it's not until we get away from our fear of being alone that we never have to do that again. If aloneness is not loneliness, and that, you know, if we put our foot down, so to speak, on the standards of our life, guess what? The next best thing steps in. It's really amazing.
And everybody goes through a state of rebellion at some point in their life. This is really given to be normal. And the idea is that you're ultimately rebelling against yourself. That is, you know, when you come out of this period of rebellion, you recognize that it was you that you were having the argument with the entire time.
Oh, it always is. What you dislike in others, what you dislike in others is what you dislike in yourself. So you can really tell a lot by your feelings. Look in your life, and this goes for everybody, look in the life, what are the things that you term hate, dislike, any of those words, and then what you're doing is you're disliking, hating that part of you. Love that part in you, and you can't help but love that person. That's why, you know, the things that you don't trust about yourself, or the things you don't trust about your mate, the things you don't love in other people are the things you don't love in you. So it really pays, and it serves the entire world for you to love you more.
And recognize that whole thing is going on within you, always within you, especially if it's some thought that makes you unhappy or uncomfortable. That is the way that works.
Yeah,
so our program, as we say, is open forum. Please feel free to call in with a question on really, truly any subject, and we would be very happy to answer it. It's important. There are many, many, many rooms that we go through in any one given life. Go ahead. What were you going to?
Oh, no.
Yeah. And stepping through these doors has to do with, you were talking about having thought that, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
then you go ahead and say it.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, the rooms are your belief systems, and we have to walk through a lot of different rooms in order to get to other rooms. Like you have to walk down your hallway before you get to your bedroom or your bathroom, and that it's okay to be in that hallway. So you got to love where you're at any given time, and know that wherever you're at, there's an entry and an exit point in it, that you're not going to stay there, no matter where that is. So look for where would you like to step next, because it really is your decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things we, as a group, can let go of is the idea of owning anything. The Native Americans talk about the idea of if anything owns anything, it's the earth that owns us.
We have another call.
Excellent.
That's
okay.
true, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. As soon as that gets transferred on
Intellectual
in.
property is really laugh out loud.
Yeah. Okay, it'll be coming in shortly. All right.
Hi, caller. What's your name, please? Come on. Make up a name. We don't care.
Hello.
Don't
Hi.
say anything.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Better and
What can
better.
we do for you tonight?
Hi, can I just have a general reading?
Sure.
Sure, be happy to.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for calling. And yes, and there's a lot of difference between what people call fortune telling and readings. A reading is something that puts you back in power in your life and helps you see how you created it and how you could create something better. Well, the first card we get, I get this card often when someone is getting ready to buy a house or buy property, and says this is like the direction you're coming from. Have you been out in the country lately or been thinking of buying a place?
Well, yes, I've thought about buying a place.
Okay. This is, really coming in a positive way. Like that can be a really good thing for you right now. And that sometimes we get afraid of that, like this child standing in the dark, kind of afraid to take that leap because he might fall over, fall on his face, not be able to make his mortgage payments, whatever that might be. And what happens after a while, he said, well, anything's better than just standing here, standing still. And so he takes that step, and the way shows clear, and he starts a grand adventure in his life. And so it is talking about getting out there in movement. And again, and I did shuffle the cards, and we pulled the creativity card. One time I had a dream about this card, and in the dream, God held this card down and said, you can throw away all the rest, because everything comes through this doorway of movement, of life, of creativity. And so this is a time, and what I'm seeing is like you have stacked on shelves many, many different boxes of these wonderful things you've accumulated in wisdom in your life. And now's the time to open them and start letting that out.
That's
Okay,
true.
thank you.
We have another caller.
Thanks. Great. Okay, and the next caller is coming in. That's great. Great. Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. We
We
love
are
to
here
get
to
calls.
be of service.
And
yeah.
our next caller is on the line now.
Hi, caller. What's your name, please?
Hi, my name is Mina. Hi,
Hi.
Mary.
Hi.
Hello?
Hi, Neville.
Yes.
I would like to have a general reading, especially for my awaited happy day. I've been sick for a long, long time.
For your health?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah, Mary will do the reading.
Okay.
If it is about your health, the day must come that you become bored with being ill. Any issue of health represents a spirit lesson that you are refusing, and that this lesson has been demoted to the physical. So if you can name specifically the disease, we can talk about
Perhaps
the,
after I do the reading, because I don't
yeah,
like to
sure,
have a
go
lot
ahead,
of
go ahead,
info,
yes.
and then we would like to get to know
yeah,
that.
and I just,
This I'm agreeing with you. It feels like you've been around and around, and I'm feeling like there's an area of your life that you keep kind of going around in a circle and hitting a brick wall, and it might be another person's opinion, another person telling you, it may look like a boss or somebody telling you. I just feel like there's a limitation, and what you're doing is getting yourself to the place where you can rise up above it. And here, the existence, just being left alone, I just, like, this card also comes up, getting your, like opening your own company, or being a consultant or something, getting out from under the thumb of something is what both of these cards are saying. And also, not so much to listen to health care from other people's ideas, and I know doctors have many wonderful things to offer, but listen to your body first, and maybe get some, expand your scope there, maybe get some holistic care in there, you know, natural medicine in there. And then health. We got the healing card. And it is talking about this is coming to a close. I feel like you are already tired of it and that you're calling to you things that would help heal. Yeah, and we know we have a lot of resources as far as that. Even people that help us out on the show are naturopathic doctors. And so you might want to give us a call at home and we can give you some more pointers there. And we offer a lot of different things. Now, would you like to share what's going on? Or I believe we have another call.
Yeah,
okay, she hung up. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
What can we do for you?
I was hoping for a reading, perhaps in the amorous area of my life.
And what was that last thing?
Amorous.
Okay. All right. Be most happy to. And this one. First card we get, the rebirth. This camel has been led around. That kind of represents us in school. Oh, I ought to do this. And then we get to that lion part of our life where we rebel and we fight and we claim. And then we get in this place where it's very spiritual. And that's something with you. I think you've been through that where, you know, you're kind of led around by your mate and then, then you're fighting back. And now it's like, I just wish for somebody that I can talk to, that I have a spiritual connection with. And that's what's been broadcast out there. And it feels like someone that's older around you, and it doesn't have to be in age, it can be in wisdom, you know, that's coming. And here we get this ordinariness. You know, it used to be, oh, let me get all excited by the motorcycle guy that rides into town, and then you get to that place like, I don't want that anymore. I just like somebody I can sit and talk to, maybe walk and share similar goals. And so you're coming at a place where you're really fine-tuning what you're asking for, and when you do that, it really starts coming. And it feels like new energy coming up.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Which brings up the subject of commitment, interestingly enough. In order to get someone to commit to you, since it is a harmony universe, since we live in this planet of smoke and mirrors, it must be you are committed to you. If you're not committed to you, then you attract people that will not commit. If you are committed to you, then you attract people who will commit. It is the way it works. Recognizing the committing may not be possible, and then again it may. But there is the idea that this is a harmony universe, and whatever it is you're looking for, you have to do that for you first.
Well, you know, for years I've been suggesting to people to write their marriage vows to themselves. Because we really are taught that we're not allowed to love ourselves directly, we have to love ourselves vicariously through other people. So then it turns into this big manipulation game. And, you know, it's like, oh gosh, how can I get them to love me? So we have these receptors open, waiting for that storybook thing to come and say all those things that we've been waiting to hear. When you write your marriage vows to yourself, you close that circuit internally. And it's amazing how you just...
Especially when you go in to have the bridal gown made. I'll let everyone fill in the rest of the details of that.
Well, you know, that's an interesting thought. You know, I actually suggested that to somebody in a reading once, and she went on a little trip by herself, and she did do that. She bought herself a ring, and I tell you, she's a different person now. Because when, you know, just that whole thing, you've told a story about committing to yourself that once you do, then the rest of the world does. That the show you did years ago, you're having difficulty with the you know, everybody doing it, and you know, like getting the show, and everybody, you know, kept blaming the equipment and everything. And then as soon as Neville realized it's, you know, I have to commit to myself, and wrote that as an affirmation, it's safe for me to commit to myself. Everybody, you know, the old crew leaves, a new crew comes in, and that's that way throughout your life. And I do that even not on big things, on small things. I start feeling like the world is against me. I say, hey, I'm not against me. I am on my own side. I open my eyes that quickly, and conditions have changed.
And that's all it takes. We human beings are magic with an X factor. We are beyond comprehension, our own, that is. If we actually got a load of how magical we really are, there'd never again be controversy of any kind on this planet. The entertainment business per se would vanish overnight, because everybody would go, hire someone to entertain me? Are you kidding me? I couldn't fit that into my schedule. Hire somebody to entertain me? I don't think so. Why? Because I'm way too creative. Come on. It'll take me the rest of my life just to figure out what it is that makes me giggle. I'm not going to hire anybody else to do that.
I have so many things I love to do. As you know, I make candles, all kinds of different candles. I paint, I do pottery, not professionally, you know, but I love to play with clay. I love to do all kinds of different things. And to me, if I just had, you know, infinity, I would never, ever run out of things that I love to do. And we're all like that. Yeah. Give yourself permission for this to come out. Write a list of things you love to do. Things that you love to do. I know Neville had said years ago that bring you joy, but things that you really love to do, physical things. And one time, what I did when I went through a severe depression when I was a lot younger, I put in a bag, wrote on pieces of paper things that I knew I loved to do, folded them up, and when I started feeling depressed, I'd reach in the bag and do that. And by the time I was done with it, I was not depressed any longer.
Yeah, that's an excellent technique. The idea of depression, just to define depression, which is written in the Language Codes book, depression means that you have grown spiritually. And what has happened is you've given a command for the old life to shatter. And we don't realize we're so powerful that anything out of your mouth is a command. Whether or not you recognize this doesn't concern me. It remains a command. So you have given the command for the old life to shatter so that you can build the new life. This is the definition of depression. The old life is shattered, but you do not build the new life. You lament the shattering of the old life and then spiral down. Okay.
That's very much like the tension placed on the face or the rear end.
Yes, okay. Now, if you want to actually do away with all depression in a nanosecond flat, you want to look like a genius counselor, find somebody that says, I'm depressed, okay, and make them first of all, define the new world they intend to move into, and then get them by one means or another to put the first brick in place of the new world. And that's what brought that up, the bag of things that make you happy. Have the person do that. And
that's so true. That's such a good idea because, you know, it's the frequency that brings the events. We think, you know, everything is turned around. We think that we've got to have that avenue of expression and then we can express. But what happens is you express and that avenue shows up. Sure. So if you pull your heart vibration up to the level of happy, things that make you happy will come rushing toward you like a vacuum pulling it up. And it's not those things showing up and then the other.
Having been on this planet for close to 60 years, it always amazes me that human beings walk facing forward, considering how backward all of the thinking we're trained to have.
Maybe we are walking backwards and we just don't know.
That may be it. We could start a new trend. We could be the frontward walkers walking backwards. You can get sunglasses and put them on the back of your head. It could be a dance craze. There we go. The backwards dance. I like it. Let's go to the Galaxy Hut and start it this very evening, although it's too cold. But it doesn't have to be, because we're that hot. Come on. Hot and cold, that's a laugh.
I was getting, you know, to let the cold blow through you. I ought to do this now because there's no heat in the studio here. So this is a good time to do it. So thank you for camera folks for staying in here with us in the refrigerator here.
Yeah, that's why the camera's
Joe
moving
suggested
back and
calling
forth.
the topic tonight refrigerator show. But if you just relax and don't resist the cold and you just let it blow through you, you're not as cold.
I remember when I was in the school in Manhattan and I didn't have much money at all, so I got this coat for a real bargain, but it had no buttons on it. It was a full-length coat and a really nice one, but it had no buttons. And one time in Manhattan, right, and you go around the corner, that's like, right there, it's like 90-mile-an-hour ice-cold wind, and here is like a pocket, like a vacuum. So I step around the corner and this coat blows open and I go, well, I have my choice now. I can freeze to death on the spot, or I can never be cold again. And I chose never be cold again. And it worked for a good 20 years until I was hiking in Wisconsin in the winter, and a very similar thing happened to me. And I mentioned this to the person next to me who says, turn your thermostat up. Like there was something the matter with me that I didn't know to turn my thermostat up.
It really works. I've done that. And same with when I was really hot, I just imagined. Because, you know, it's our resistance of what's going on that causes any symptom at all. It's our, you know, our unhappiness is our resistance to that. And that gets into that meditation of just allowing all things, letting them be. So let it be cold, let it be hot. You know, if you can't get up and turn up the thermostat or turn it down. Just allow it to be, and then you're not expending your energy resisting it, and the cold really does blow through you when you retain your heat.
Allowing is power. That's the
It
thing.
truly is.
And we're listening to the camera people's teeth chattering at the moment here.
Yeah.
Just because frost is coming out of our mouth, there's nothing the matter with your television set. It's us here.
Well,
in
we're
the
a little warmer. We're under the lights.
subarctic. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But life is to be fun. This is the whole point. If you're not having fun, there's something the matter.
And remember,
and it's not
Christmas,
outside of you.
Hanukkah, all this stuff, Kwanzaa, whatever else is going on this time of year, it's fun. If it's not fun, simplify it. God makes things simple. Man makes things complicated. If your life's getting complicated, simplify. It's really in your hands. Cut off some of those things you have on your list and just say no to it. It's getting ridiculous. Our work life, everything is just out of control.
And if it's not fun, it's not real.
Yeah. Yeah. And visit us at telepathictv.com. A new show is up there every Friday morning that you can watch on the internet. And we are Friday nights, 8:30 in Arlington, and Monday night at 11 p.m. it re-airs. And you can also call our home number, which has been up many times tonight. Thank you guys in the control room. The 703-860-2333. So if this is a re-airing, you're welcome to call that number.
Yeah.
And we're down to our last minute.
So we want to thank you for joining us. As
Neville's
we become
books,
more and more conscious. Go ahead.
Yeah, Neville's books can be found at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, any bookstore. The hidden language codes and the language codes.
And you've been building these wonderful chakra
candles. And I make all kinds of all-natural,
new types of candles.
Non-petroleum-based candles, chakra tuned with the bowls and all different sorts of things. And all that's on the web, telepathictv.com. It's our joy and honor to take you to the door.
As we become more conscious, we find that what really counts is where we place our attention. And we wish to thank you for placing your attention on us for the last hour, and whatever the future you may place your attention on us, we thank you. And we place our attention upon you also, as when two such infinite sources of light place their attention on each other, there is a whole new world born. Thank you very much.
Indeed. And thanks to all of our callers tonight, too. It was really...